We're in this series called Family Matters. We got this week and next week. We started the series basically talking about how Jesus was born into a family, a physical family, and he had a spiritual family. And then in week 2, we talked a lot about what it means to just kind of to parent and do various things and with different kids. And then last week we talked about to moms specifically, all the things that moms are learning and growing in, and how honorable you are and how God has purpose for your life. And today, we're just going to talk about this. We said moms matter last week. Dads will talk to you on Father's Day. But today I want to just talk to you about this idea of communication. And everybody say communication matters. Communication matters. See, you listen and you respond. That's communication. Let me just pause. I got a couple books here we'll go over. And First Service wore these books out, so some of y'all might have to get them online. We'll talk about them in a minute. But my name is Carlos. True story. Y'all didn't know that. Some of y'all. Where are my Latino brothers and sisters at? Come on, somebody. Where you at? Yeah. I am not Latino in any way at all. I am as white can be. My grandfather was as white could be, but his name was Carlos, so it got passed down to me. People ask me all the time. I don't know. There's nothing in my family heritage or anything. But there's, you ever had an assumption made about you? So the other day I got a phone call, and I answered it, and I listened for about 15 or 20 seconds. And then I hung up, and Julie said, "Who was that?" I said, "I have no idea." She said, "What'd they say?" I said, "I have no idea." She said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "It was all in Spanish." Just because my name is Carlos don't mean I speak Spanish. You understand what I'm saying? It's gotten so bad that about 3 years ago, I started getting bills in the mail or communication in the mail in Spanish. You don't believe me? Check this out. I love the fact that it's all in Spanish, but the bottom says current patient balance in English. Like, they ain't gonna let you. Why not put that in Spanish too? I didn't have to understand that. All I could tell by this entire thing is the insurance didn't cover it all. That's all I knew. I posted this online, and somebody said, we can translate that for you. It says you owe money. So here's my point. It's like, I love the fact as a pastor that I get a pastor, ever-growing, diverse church, and I'm hoping that we continue to reflect our community. And one of the things is we have a lot of people who speak Spanish. We have people who, we have sign language here on Sunday mornings as well for a group of people who are hearing impaired. And I love the fact that we have people from all walks of life. And one of the things we're working on is how do we translate our messages and our worship even into Spanish for people, because we have more and more people who are speaking Spanish who attend regularly. And so I love the fact that our church is very diverse, but if we want to communicate effectively with one another, we have to understand one another. And the problem is that doesn't just go for like English or Spanish or whatever language you speak. It also goes for the manner in which we speak to one another and how we speak to one another. So I have a couple books that I want to show you briefly. This is a book called I Said This, You Heard That. Everything I'm talking about today comes, for the most part, from this book. We're working with Kathleen Edelman, who's the author of this book, to bring this into the school systems here to help teachers understand their kids. That's a game changer. And we're hoping and praying in the fall that works out. We have some stuff set up with her. But basically, the premise here is that this tells you how you're wired and how you're going to communicate and what you need to hear. And we'll talk through some of that today. But these are available at the Resource Center. I think we have a few left. You can order them on Amazon as well. And then basically, there's a guide for kids as well, because you know your kids are different than you, right? You ever had those kids like, what's wrong with these kids? Whose kids were these? Y'all ever saw that? So this talks about your kids and how they're wired and those types of things. And so I just want to encourage you to pick these up. Somebody asked me one time, they said, "Carl, anybody ever try to do a marriage devotional before?" You ever tried to do a marriage, I'll just come back and sit here. And so you ever try to do a marriage devotional where you read a paragraph, husbands, you're like, I'm going to read you a paragraph together and then we're going to answer some questions. Anybody ever try to do a marriage devotional? Come on. No? Y'all ain't that spiritual? So when I was growing up, and they got married, they said, you need to do devotions with your wife. You need to do devotions with your wife. What's a devotion? What's a devotion with your wife? So there's we get a marriage devotional. So we read it, and it'd be like talking about something, and we read it, and then there'd be like 5 questions, and you say, what do you feel about that? How do you think that? Is there an area you're like? Can I tell you, that's torture, y'all. The men are saying this, and the wife's like, he's just, because we're supposed to be spiritual leaders of the home, man. And so I'm reading, and it was just the most awkward thing. And so somebody said, what's the best marriage devotional out there? And I'm like, none of them. They're all terrible. Sorry if you've wrote one or something before. I'm not being offensive. I just don't like them. So what do we do for our marriage? It's to learn to communicate with each other. And so everybody asks me a marriage guide, this is what I give them. This is what I give them. So if you're struggling in your communication in your marriage, and you don't get this today, you don't pick it up, you don't buy it, you don't go online, you don't do the research, you don't figure out yourself and figure out your spouse, then good luck. That's all I can say. Because if you don't know how to communicate, and your kids aren't going to know how to communicate, and you're not going to know how to communicate, I mean, it's a downward spiral because communication matters. And so write this down if you're taking notes. Your home should be the safest place on earth to communicate. It should be, but let's be honest. It's not in a lot of homes in our community. We should have an opportunity and ability to say anything we want to say. I tell my kids all the time, you can say anything you want to say. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Anything. Dad, I hate you right now. Okay, let's not say it that way. Dad, I'm really frustrated. And all my emotions are getting the best of me, and I don't have good feelings towards you right now. See the difference? Okay, so here's what I need you to hear. How we communicate will either lead us toward closeness or toward separation, toward intimacy or toward division. This is true in your marriage, with your kids, in the church. Come on, somebody. You want to know why there's so much division in the church? Because we say things from a frustrated or empty place on social media, and then our friends on social media, who aren't really your friends, they're just acquaintances, by the way, who look at it, and then they're mad, and there's all this division because we just say whatever's on our heart and on our mind, and we have no idea what it does to the other person. And so communication is more than just what is said, it is also what is heard. Because on that phone call, they spoke Spanish to me, and they said a lot. I didn't hear nothing. I was like, is there a button like press 2 for English? Is there anything? And so studies have shown that 90% of problems, management problems in the workplace, can come back to bad communication. Studies also show that 90% of problems in marriage can come from poor communication. Now, it means both parties have to understand this. So you can't go get the book and change everything today. Now, you can work on yourself if your spouse doesn't want to do this, or your children don't have to understand this for you to start working on the process for yourself. But the reality is if we could just eliminate miscommunication, bad communication, and just start communicating more healthy, we'd have better marriages, better families, better workplaces, better churches, better everything. Because miscommunication or bad communication has started all kinds of problems in this world, hasn't it? I mean, we got wars that have started over bad communication. Whether they had nuclear weapons or whether they didn't. Whether they had this or whether they had that, or whether they should have done this, or who's doing what, or where somebody is. And you see, wars have started. Terrible communication when it's political season. And we could eliminate so many problems if we would talk to each other the way God wired us to instead of about each other. And then we could embrace one another's differences and learn that we're all a part of a bigger thing, especially in the church, called the family of God. And if you're not talking to somebody who's a part of the family of God, you want to talk to them in such a way that they'll become a part of the family of God one day. And so then, there's this passage in Ephesians. One passage is all we're reading today. And it says this in verse 29 of chapter 4. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but only what is helping building one another up, or others up, according to what? This is problematic, because I just want to say it to get it off my chest. That it may benefit those who, So really, what we're learning from Paul in Ephesians is that communication is as much or more about the other person as it is you feeling good about something that you got off your chest. And that's a game changer. Some of y'all just unloaded everything on your spouse last night. I don't go to church this morning, put a smile on her face. Right? Because we didn't think about what it did to the other person. We just felt better because we did it. We said it. And so I want to talk through this conversation today, and I want to differentiate some things because there's something called your temperament and something called your personality. They are not the same. They were closely related. So your personality is more about the what in which you do, the how and what in which you behave. Okay? So your personality, like he's loud, she's quiet, If you go to the Myers-Briggs, there's 16 personality types and all these different things, and some might be the challenger, some might be the introspective thinker. There's all these different personality types, but most of that comes out of nature plus nurture. I was born with a certain temperament, and then it was nurtured based on life circumstances, family situations, brothers, sisters, moms, dads, things that happened to me, good, bad, and ugly, and I developed a personality out of it. At the core, though, of who you are is your temperament. That is the why behind everything that you do. Now, the why at the very core. So I have a foundation in my house, and I put the wrong walls on the foundation. It's going to be a jacked up looking house. And so the house in and of itself is built on something. It's built on the foundation. When you don't understand at the core of how you are wired and how the people in your life are wired, you start building a house, and it's built on a crumbled foundation. In the church in America today, if we're not careful, we'll build churches and not understanding our community, that we're trying to reach, and we're answering questions. Did you ever grow up in a church that answered questions you weren't asking? You're like, I don't need to know the answer to that. I just want to know how to get through tomorrow. And so as a church, we got to answer questions people are asking. We have to learn to communicate. And so this is so important that we understand our temperament and the temperament of the people around us. Now, I'm going to introduce you to some of our team today, so maybe we can identify and have a little fun along the way. Would you please welcome to the stage our yellow sanguine, Pastor Daniel Foster. Come on, Daniel, come on. Yellows or sanguines, we'll talk about them. They're a lot of fun. All right. Now, if you'll welcome to the stage our red choleric, Miss Jamie Kilcrease. Jamie, where are you at? You can throw these back up on the side of the screen for me. There we go. This is our red cholerics, and our blue to the stage. This is our melancholic Ashley Owen, soon to be Ashley Averett, who is engaged now. Some of y'all didn't know that. And then Mr. Joshua Kilcrease, who is our green phlegmatic. Now, these are 4 temperament types. All of us fall into one of these categories. You might bridge and have a little bit of another, or you might be 50-50. And so I want you to hear a couple things, though. We're going to have a little fun with these guys because I, just so you know, am a red choleric, which will make a whole lot more sense here in a few minutes. But there's some differences in all 4 of these, and I want to kind of show you a couple differences. First of all, you have your extroverts. This is your red and your yellow, all right? And then you have your introverts, which is your blue and your green. So you say, extroverts, what does that even mean? This is how they process their thoughts. You ever had somebody who they're like, I just think we ought to do this, and I think this is how I'm thinking, and they're just talking out loud? Come on, anybody? And you have people like you're sitting there and their heads are just churning, and you're like, what are you thinking? It's because they're processing. So here we go. Our reds and our yellows are our extroverts. They process out loud. Our greens and our blues are their introverts. They process internally. Come on, watch this. Where are my reds? You identify with the right-hand side of the stage over here. Come on, you're red, yellow. Let me hear you. All right. Now, you say, okay, I identify with more of the blue, green on this side. Come on, where are you at? You hear the difference? Reds and yellows are like, woo. Greens and blues are like. And it was extreme first service. So you see, already, just by the way you process, you may not know what you are. That's why you're like, I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about now how you see life or how you accomplish things, okay? Blues and reds, now this would be, blues and reds, which is 1 and 2 here. They are task-driven people, generally. They get things done. We're task-driven, get things done, let's go. All right. Now, yellows and greens are more people-driven. We work with people to get, things done, but it's a organic process along the way. These people make lists, check them twice, going to find out who's been naughty or nice. These people are out there being naughty and nice, trying to find their list. You see? Anybody? You seeing how this works itself out? So now I got extroverted, out there, have fun, hope we get something accomplished. Okay? I got extroverted, get things accomplished, hope we don't offend anybody. Which, by the way, I'm a red. Blue, we're going to get things accomplished and clean up the mess the red left behind by fixing it all because we're processed. And green, we're out here having fun, figuring out things. You can never tell what's going on the outside. And we hope we're getting things done because we're having fun in the process, but we're just kind of chill. All right, so let's talk about how these people relate to each other a little bit, okay? So I'm going to give you 3 thoughts today, and we're just going to have a little fun banter back and forth. Your temperament determines the words that you speak by default. You have some default ways that you speak. And these words that you speak are generally the core motivators that determine the words you're going to use. So I'll give you some feedback from my life, but let's kind of walk through these guys initially. So we have, first of all, our yellow. This is Pastor Daniel Foster. He often speaks, he's animated, fun, and he's people-oriented words. That's the kind of words he uses. All right? So this is why when he speaks on stage, it's like, oh gosh, whoo, you feel like this when he's done. She said, yeah. And the camera guys are like, whoo, 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 whoo. Right? People already have it. You're going to have fun. If y'all wanted to preach longer, just be like, yeah! We'll never get, y'all will be waiting in line after first service. You'll be like, what's going on? Oh, Pastor Daniel got cheered on today. All right? Reds are often bold, speak with confidence and controlling words. Like, matter of fact, this is how it is. Y'all like it or get off the train. Some of y'all are like, they're mean. Let me tell you something. This world needs some reds to lead the way, right? Because if not, yellows will take over. With fun. But you know what? Reds need yellows in their life. If not, we're pretty hardcore. Okay, then we have our blues. Now, this is interesting because blues are detailed. They speak with detailed, judgmental, and thoughtful words. Some of you see judgmental and you think it's automatically negative. Not necessarily. It can be, but it can also be like, hey, yo, if you do that, you're going to fall on your face. And it appears judgmental, but it's been well thought out. And so they're thoughtful words. And so when a red says something and a blue starts processing it, you see it's like, okay, well, they probably shouldn't have said it that way. Because they would have said it, and so they speak with detailed, judgmental, and thoughtful words. Now here's the fourth one, the green. Often speak with easygoing, unenthusiastic, and patient words. So you're like, man, you're just chill. It's cool. I think this is hilarious because Josh is married to Jamie. So Jamie says, hey, where you want to eat? I don't know. Anything's fine. No, I mean, Josh, come on, just where do you want to eat? Just tell me where you want to eat. We'll go there. Well, I don't know. Cool. Super chill. Josh, just tell me where you want to eat. Why are you yelling at me, right? It's like, I'm not yelling. It's like, I'm not saying this is how it goes down, but like just imagining worst case scenario. And so it's interesting here because if you look at these or temperament types on the stage, Daniel's, anywhere there's a camera or a stage, that's where he's at, right? Always hanging out. People want to be a part, man. Just always up. And so Jamie is leading big groups of people to various spots and like systems and organizational structure and all that kind of stuff, right? You see, those of you who work with Jamie, you know, like she can pull off any event like boom, 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 and everybody's like, okay, let's go. Ashley is a blue. She got some creative elements to her. She's organized. And so you see her on the stage helping with all the behind the scenes things that happen here. And then some things that are out front. They can bridge both ways. Josh runs all of our cameras, our camera crews, runs a lot of the stage stuff backstage, plays an instrument, more behind the scenes. But like without Josh, what you guys would be having to like this. What's going on? For the ones in the risers who won't sit on the floor. I'm just kidding. I would sit there too. I love the risers. In fact, Julie, y'all think I'm kidding? Julie sat last week. She had some friends in town, and guess where they sat? The risers, because she wanted to see. But without Josh, guess what? Nobody can see the expressions. Nobody can see the thing. All behind the scenes. And so these are also the ways in which you communicate. Here's the second part. Your temperament determines the words you also need to hear. So think about it. If you are a yellow, married to a red, which is true in his situation. And red is about getting things done and task-oriented. Yellows need approval, acceptance, attention, and affection. But if the red's about getting things done, you can bypass that if you're not careful, right? And so this means like, I want people to notice what I do, celebrate what I do. All right? Here's the second one. Reds have a sense of want loyalty, a sense of control, appreciation, and credit for their work. Any reds in the house? Like, you want to know when you cut the grass, it looked good. You want to make a red's day, say, baby, you're the best grass cutter in the world. I noticed the edge. It was all clear. It was perfect. Greens, harmony. This is the worthiness, lack of stress, and respect. And so this is like, you learn, like, if Josh compares himself to another color, all of a sudden he starts thinking, I need to be like that. No. This is his language. This is what he needs to hear. And so it allows him to understand himself. And then Ashley, she's blue. She needs safety, sensitivity, space, and silence. This is why my wife's a blue, I'm a red. Early in our marriage, if there was an argument like it's 5:58, we got to figure this out by 6 o'clock. She's like, 6 o'clock on Thursday? Because I need time to process. I need safety. And so early in our marriage, I walk around going, what's wrong? Well, let's fix this now. And she's like, I just want you to get away from me. She'd hide in the closet, in the bathroom. Like, where's Julie? She's gone to the neighbor's house, getting away from me. No, just like, because I'm just trying to fix it, because I'm a red. Like, let's get this thing, and it's out of control. We got to get it back into control. And she's like, I just need a process. I need safety. I need sensibility. I need space. I need support. I don't need to just like get all this. And so when you understand this about yourself, listen, it helps you love yourself better. It helps you understand what you need and not compare yourself. It also allows you to know that you can learn to love your spouse and your family better. Let's do an exercise here. So we have a yellow as a red dominant, and as a boss, if I walk up to Foster's desk and I say, hey, we need to talk. His mind goes everywhere. And usually his face goes, because I need approval, acceptance. You see this? And he's wondering, oh no, because I'm a red dominant. So if I'm speaking to Daniel, I can't say, hey man, we need to meet in a text message. Bro, he's gonna be in the hospital. What I can say, hey man, look, what happens, student, man, 12 students coming to know Christ was amazing. I just want you to manage a lot. We can work a little bit. If we did a couple little tweaks, man, we can make that thing even better and see God. It was like, yeah. Wow. You see the difference? But if I was like, we need to talk about that situation that happened on Wednesday night, it's a different, takes on a different, okay? I'm going to skip Jamie. I'm going to come back to her since she's a red and I'm a red. If I come to Ashley and say, hey, we need to talk, she can be like, no, I need to process before we talk. And she's all like, I need to get my head's got, because I've already reached the conclusion. She's got to get to the conclusion and process it all out and determine how she's going to communicate. So it's a danger zone. So sometimes, like, hey, we need to talk about these 3 things. Let's talk tomorrow at noon. See the difference? Because I'm thinking, let's talk now. She's thinking, let's talk next weekend. Okay, if I go to Josh, I asked Josh, I said, okay, explain to me how you would feel if I came and said, hey man, we need to talk. He'd be like, on the outside, I'd be like, okay. On the inside, I'm going, oh, crap. Like, oh, but what is this going to be about? But he never shows it because it's just kind of, do you see the difference here? Now, if I go to Jamie and I say, hey, we need to talk.
What's up?
I'll never forget when we were building the Good Life out, man, me and Jamie sit across there and like, nope. And we just, and nobody's offended. Because we speak the same language. Some people say things to me and I'm like, okay. Say that to Josh or Ashley or Daniel and it's like, whoa. But if a red communicates in a red's language, it's fine. We don't get offended. If a yellow communicates but the problem comes in is when I'm a red and I speak to a yellow like they're a red. Or a yellow speaks to a blue like they're a yellow. And the blue's like, you are so unorganized. Do you see where this all of a sudden causes tension in your marriage, with your kids, at the job? And here's the thing, sometimes with your bosses. Because you expect your boss to be like you.
If I was in his shoes, I would just do it this way.
Well, you're not. And so for the time being, if you want a job, you might want to learn how to communicate. And these guys know. Don't tell me like 14. Like if they come production creative, they're the worst about this. They come in like, hey, we need to buy this new equipment. And it's like this and it's like the wires and they do this and they make just all things in latency and L3, S4. Poop. And I'm like, how much does it cost? Right? And that's all I need to know. I don't need to know like what the name of it is. You see? And so like we got to learn to communicate, because if they come in and be like glazed over, and they're like, what's the answer? I'm like, what'd you say? I don't know what you said. Just want to know the bottom line. Okay, here's the third one. Understanding the temperament changes every conversation. Every conversation. And it also, if you truly understand this, when you get in a tense conversation, you recognize it quicker afterwards. Oh, I might have should have said that differently. Instead of going, that's just the way I am. It's just my personality. Get another one. You ever heard somebody say, that's just how I'm wired? Short circuit that thing. And so what I've learned, because what comes in here is thought process oriented and it comes out like quickly, I've had to learn to initiate the pause. And as a red who just hears, processes, and computes, pause and listen and hear the full process. And listen, I get this right about 50% of the time. I'm growing. It used to be like 3. But for you, you're like, maybe you're not that person. Yellows, they're extroverted. They have to initiate the pause or else it'll just come out because they process out loud. So for you, if you're a green or a blue, you have to initiate the pause in your mind. Because you hear something and then you tune everything out because your mind it goes all the way down this road toward like, what's the word? And before you know it, it's like, so how do you feel about that? And like, what'd you say? Because you didn't initiate the pause on your thoughts and actually engage in the full conversation. You have to give grace. So initiate the pause, give grace. Here's how you give grace. I realize that your strengths are oftentimes my weaknesses and my strengths are oftentimes your weaknesses, and we need each other. We need each other. This is why if two people of the same color are married, they're going to have a different set of problems than if two people that are maybe a different temperament. So 2 yellows get married, man. They're going to have fun. They're going to be broke, but they're going to have fun. Right? 2 greens get married. It's going to be chill. They may never leave the house. 2 blues get married. They're going to process everything. Everything's a process. 2 reds get married, they duke it out. Next day's a new day. But do you see where, like, you better know these things? And then we learn to celebrate the difference. See, when you're young and dumb, you think your personality or your temperament or your wiring is the best or the worst. Some of y'all, depending on what temperament you are, if you're a blue, you have a self-critic, so you might think your temperament's the worst. But you got to celebrate the difference. We need each other. And so when we learn to celebrate the difference, it allows us to listen to understand instead of listening to respond. Because I can't celebrate the difference if I don't understand the difference. And so hear me. I want you to write this down, and then I'll give you some takeaways before we go. No temperament is better than any other. You ever said, I wish I was wired like that person? Well, there's a dark side to that one too. I've had people say, Carl, I wish I could do that on stage, and I wish I was wired like you. And I'm like, it's hard to keep friends because I can be really offensive. Now, that's where the fruit of the Spirit comes into your life. Love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness. You see? Because in my nature, I have a sin nature, which means I have a dark side. In my spirit nature, I want to exemplify the fruit of the Spirit in my life that counteracts and helps make up for my weaknesses and then magnifies my strengths to be used for the glory of God. So I thought we'd have a little fun here. Reds, where you at? Any reds in the house? You think you're a red? Some of y'all are going to take the test and be like, oh, man, I wasn't a red. Yellows in the house. Where you at, yellows? Yep, all the yellow. Woo! Blues in the house? Which hand should I raise? Greens. All right. See, I got a little bit of extrovert coming out. People thing, whatever it is. Whatever. Okay, so here we go. This thing will tell you your strengths and your weaknesses. It's not, listen, there's some of you who are hybrids. My wife's more blue than green, but she has some green tendencies as we've studied and learned to communicate. But I thought it'd be fun. I'm not going to pick on yellows and greens too much because it'd take too much time, but I'm going to give you some. That's not what I meant. Gosh. What I meant was there's 4. I only have time for 2, and I was going to pick on me and my wife, all right? All right, we'll do them all. Let's just do them all. That's fine. Y'all ain't got nowhere to go. There's no other service coming in. When y'all pick your kids up, you tell the kids workers it's your fault that you late getting out. All right, reds, here we go. I love it. I read my strengths, and I love my strengths. And then my wife reads my weaknesses. I want to punch myself in the face. Dynamic leader, delegates well, ability to correct wrongs, decisive, can control emotions in emergencies, independent and self-sufficient, energetic, adventurous, appears confidence, energized by challenges, persuasive, bold. I mean, there's 40 of them, 40 of all of us. My favorite one, I'm just going to skip on down to this one. It says, usually right. Just saying. And then my wife will say, give me the book. Bossy, impatient, quick-tempered, can't relax, doesn't shy away from controversy, enjoys arguments, won't give up when losing, comes on too strong, inflexible, is not complimentary, dislikes tears and emotions. And you think you're always right. Well, let me read you this one. You may be right, but you're unpopular. And I'm like, Jamie said, I'm still right, though. I didn't say it. She said it. She said it. But we need these people in our lives, right? And so then you flip over, I'll pick on, let's just do yellows. These are fun. Lives in the moment, shows emotions openly, inspiring, great storyteller. Y'all remember the mac and noodles? I'm just saying. Optimistic, joyful, curious, cheerful, sincere, popular, encouraging, persuasive, creative, volunteers for jobs, active, people-oriented, spontaneous. All right? This is like half of them. Here we go. Compulsive talker, exaggerates and elaborates, dwells on trivial things, can't remember names, scares others off, too happy for some, has restless energy, egotistical, blusters and complains, naive, has loud voice and laugh, controlled by circumstances. We're doing this so you can just be aware, it's a moment of vulnerability, all right? All right, blues, here we come. This is, I'm married to a blue, so you can see this, how this might cause some problems. Empathetic, deep and thoughtful. And when I see, this is our team. I'm just telling you. Analytical, serious and purposeful, conscientious, honest, creative, musical and artistic, works well alone, great listener, orderly, emotionally secure, philosophical and poetic, idealistic, excels in research, high integrity, perfectionist, sensitive to others. You're like, wow, I want to be around them. Until you're a red and you offend them. And then they remember the negatives. They're moody. They enjoy being hurt. They have false humility. They're often into the world. They have low self-image. They have selective hearing. They're reserved, too introspective. Feelings of guilt tend towards hypochondria, not people-oriented, depressed over imperfections. You're like, so you can see where I bust up in there and I'm right. And she's like, all I remember is you're wrong, son. Why are we still talking about what happened when I was 23? Because I'm a blue, right? All right, greens. Here we go, Josh. Woo! Kind and considerate, balanced, accommodating, easygoing and relaxed, consistent, quiet but witty, listens well, diplomatic, steady, even-tempered, friendly, cooperative, agreeable, good under pressure, mediator, negotiator, reliable, content, likable, responsible. You're like, man, that's pretty good qualities. Unenthusiastic, fearful, worried, indecisive, avoids responsibility, selfish, too shy, too compromising, self-righteous, lacks self-motivation, hard to get moving, resents being pushed, can appear lazy, discourages others, would rather watch. So Jamie rolls up in there and is like, we're going to do this. And Josh is like, I'll watch you do it. Is this too real? All right, you guys can go. Give these guys a big round of applause. See how they carry their balloons, see if there's a process. So, here's the question I'm going to leave you with. No major response time today other than how are you building up yourself according to your needs? What are you doing? Do you know there's temperament therapists out there that will help you do some truth exercises about yourself? What are you doing to build up your needs? Because what happens is if you're a blue, you have a self-critic. It's the person, the little critic in your own self-critic. Like, it doesn't matter what other people say, you're judging yourself all the time. If you're a red, you're just proud of your accomplishments, so somebody's got to bring you back down to earth. But what do you do to build yourself up according to what it is that God has put inside of you? So this book is just a guide. These temperaments are just a guide. Somebody say, well, does that mean only yellows can be funny? No, anybody can be funny. Does it mean only reds can be good leaders? No, anybody can be a good. We got great leaders all around this church of different personalities, different color, temperaments, everything. What I'm simply saying is you got to be aware. You got to be aware of yourself and aware of your surroundings. Now, here's where I want to come back to the scripture we read. Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building who up? It's a game changer. According to their needs, that it might benefit those who listen. Now, 2 words I want us to focus on. Let. Write this down. Every word that you use is a word that you choose. In other words, you let it come out of your mouth. It's like, I just can't help it. No, you can. You can help it, and you've been getting away with it far too long. And then this word unwholesome. I used to think it meant don't use 4-letter words. You probably shouldn't do that either. But it means detrimental physically, emotionally, or spiritually to another. So let me give you this as a takeaway. Never use your temperament as an excuse or as a weapon. That's just the way I am. Or, hey, and don't use somebody else's temperament as a weapon. You see this? Like, well, you're just hearing that because you're a yellow, you're blue, you're red, you're just, Stop it. Build one another up. This is what I think Jesus meant when he said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as your. This is a game changer for communication. And so I have a little yellow who's 10 years old. And I have a blue-green wife, and I have a blue-red son. And I'm a red. And so I had to learn this because my yellow will say, so I'll ask my oldest, who's a blue-red, I'll say, hey, how did practice go? Basketball, they both play travel basketball. I said, how did practice go? He goes, it was good, we worked on defense. All right, how'd you do? I did fine. Just bottom line, just good. I made 3 threes. Asked my yellow, how'd practice go? Dad, we were running this drill, we were doing layup drills, and Jay's missed this thing, and all of a sudden, he threw a bottle up against the wall, and Coach Darrell said, you shouldn't do that, and he got mad, he made him run, and then we got done. I'm like, did you make a shot? That's all I want to know. Did you shoot well? But what I've learned with the yellow, I'm like, bruh, stop with the stories and tell me like I want to. No, that's not, I can't do that. So what I do, I've learned I have to match his enthusiasm. Or he'll tell the same story with the same enthusiasm over. So what I do is go, what? A bottle against a wall? If I was Coach Darrell, I would have done, man. Did you make a shot? I texted Julie during the basketball tournament, and I was like, hey, how's Trey doing? And she's like, we're losing by 12. It's a mess. I said, how's Trey doing? I didn't ask about whether we were losing. I just asked it. She didn't even answer the question because she's talking about the process. Well, he teared the ball down the floor, and then it's just the problem. I'm like, I just want to know, how's he doing? So I'm going to show you this video, and then we'll come out, and I'm going to pray over you. But this video is kind of a fun way to see your strengths, your weaknesses, and how it interacts with one another. Take a look. Would you stand with me? I just want to pray over you, and then we'll be done. A couple thoughts here. We try to change people's wiring a lot. You just do this more. You just do this more. Can we just learn to appreciate that God created us all uniquely different? And can I say something from a pastor's perspective for a moment? We need every single one of you. If you're a red, man, we could use you to help kind of bust up in there and lead some things and lead groups of people and take, systems and put them into practice. If you're yellow, you don't think the VIP tent could use you to help host new people or greeters or people that just love to be out in the crowd? I mean, we need you. Blues. Julie's the blue, man. She can build a system with anybody. She's not going to implement it. She's going to build it. The reds are going to implement them most of the time. We need people that are, maybe creative. Maybe you don't even see yourself as creative. Julie's not artistic in the sense of, but she can build, she can create things, create systems, create structures. We need the blues. Greens. We need you. You think, man, so because you're just you feel like you're in the back, just kind of taking a back seat. No. You don't understand. It's a whole lot better to have greens in kids' ministry than reds. That baby's crying. Reds are like, hey, I'm in control of this room. Shut up. Like, you're a valuable part of the body of Christ. So if you're not serving, get to Welcome to Relevant. Get connected to your local church. If you're a partner of Relevant already, you've gone through all that, start serving again. Make a difference because the kingdom of God needs you. This community needs you. And you have a vital part to play. We have some books left, or you can order on Amazon. We have, I think in the Resource Center here and in the Kids Hall, we have both of those books available, one for your kids, one for you. Julie and I revisit that book every 3 months. Every 3 months to learn how to encourage one another. And we look at it for our kids as well. And so I want to pray over you, and then on the way out today, you can give on your way out. Listen, lives are being changed at Relevant Church. People are getting baptized. People are getting saved. Marriages are being put back together. Our counseling center is slammed. It is all people taking next steps toward their full potential, and we could not do it without your generosity. And so thank you. So you can give on the way out today. But before we go, let's just pray together as a family, and let's just be honest about ourselves and go work on ourselves and be the best us that we can by the power of the Holy Spirit. God, thank you for your grace, your mercy, and your love. I thank you for my brothers and sisters who aren't all like me, who all are different in some way or another. And I pray we'd appreciate one another, we'd learn from one another, we'd challenge one another, and we'd all take steps toward our full potential, learn to communicate well with our families and with our friends and in our community. We love you today. Go with us. Keep us safe. We pray in Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. We'll see you next week, church. God bless you.